This one's for the people sick of motivational bullshit telling them to just be consistent. Japanese monks figured out something modern self-help still doesn't have the guts to say. That phone you can't stop checking, munchies at 1 a.m, and whatever bad habits you're trying to get rid of. Tell you what, the more you fight a habit, the more you worship it. Bad habits are not tiny monsters living in your nervous system. They're not enemies. They're not evidence that you're weak, lazy, doomed. But you treat them like enemies. So every morning, you wake up and declare war. No more junk food. No more smoking. And by nightfall, you're back in the swamp, face down in the same behavior, whispering, "Tomorrow, I'll be better." But Zen monks don't play that game. They don't fight the habit. They study the craving, because the craving is the doorway, and what's behind that doorway might be uglier than the habit itself. Are you ready to rock? Let's rock that wisdom! Let's drag Dogen into the room. Dogen was a 13th century Japanese Zen master who basically looked at human suffering and said,
"To study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self."
That quote sounds calm until it starts chewing through your ego, because your bad habit survives on one thing, the story of you. I'm just an anxious person. I suck at discipline. Beautiful, dramatic, useless. Zen doesn't ask you to become a better version of that story, because your habit isn't just what you do. It's what you keep using to prove who you think you are. But that's only the first punch, because the habit isn't the real trap. The real trap is the fight. Picture this. It's 1 a.m. You told yourself you were going to sleep early, but here you are, thumb scrolling through gym transformations and some guy making pasta. You hate it, but you keep going. So tomorrow you decide, that's it, I'm quitting. You delete the app, you make rules, and for a while, it works. Then, stress hits. A weird silence opens up inside you, and suddenly, your hand moves toward the phone. Why? Because fighting the habit made the habit important. You gave it a throne. Zen doesn't say, destroy the craving. Zen says, sit down and watch it. Not suppress it. Watch it. The craving rises. Your mind starts negotiating. Come on, man. Just 5 minutes. You deserve it. You had a fucked up day. Zen says, you're not the craving. You're the awareness watching the craving throw a tantrum. That difference is everything. Because the moment you stop fighting the ghost, you realize it was never as powerful as your fear made it. But don't get cute. Watching the craving is only step one, because once you stop fighting the ghost, you have to face what invited it in. Bad habits are usually not random. They are emotional smoke alarms. But instead of finding the fire, you keep punching the alarm. You eat and eat because your life tastes like shit. You procrastinate because failure feels safer when it's last minute. Japanese Zen practice is savage because it removes the escape routes. Sit, breathe, do nothing. Sounds peaceful. It's not. Meditation is just you trapped in a room. The weird thing you said years ago. It's there. The habit says, run. Awareness says, stay. The habit says, numb. Awareness says, feel it. That's why monks don't fight bad habits. They bow to the lesson hidden inside them. Not because the habit is good, because the habit is honest. It shows you exactly where you are not free. But here's where it gets worse, because seeing the habit clearly doesn't magically make you stop. This is where the thumbnail earns its rent. Don't quit. Not because the habit is fine. Not because you should keep self-sabotaging. But because quitting usually turns your life into a dramatic, stupid chaos. And drama feeds the habit. I'm quitting forever. I'm changing my life. Zen doesn't need fireworks. It just stops feeding the thing. You want to stop doomscrolling. You want to stop procrastinating. A monk doesn't defeat a bad habit by wrestling it. He lets it show up. That's the move. The craving knocks. You hear it. You don't open the door. Not with hatred, not with fear, just with this clean, terrifying sentence. Not now. And then you return to what's real, the sink full of dishes. Bad habits don't die because you attack them. They die because you stop drooling over them. But careful, because once the habit loses power, you'll face something even more uncomfortable. Freedom. And freedom is not as cute as people sell it. Nobody tells you this. When you stop feeding a bad habit, life does not immediately become glowing and profound. At first, it becomes boring, painfully boring, aggressively boring. You don't scroll. Now what? You don't snack. Now what? You don't avoid the work. Now what? Now you meet the emptiness your habit was decorating. That's why most people relapse. Not because the habit is stronger, because boredom feels like death to a brain trained on constant stimulation. Modern life has turned you into a dopamine raccoon. Blinking lights, tiny rewards, endless feeds, new tabs, new snacks. And then Zen says, sit still. Your nervous system screams, absolutely not, you bold fake ass. But the monk stays, because boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is withdrawal from fake meaning. It's where your attention stops twitching. That's when you notice small things. The sound of your own breathing, the tension in your jaw, the sadness under your impatience, the fact that your life has been begging for your attention while you've been busy feeding every distraction with a mouth. Freedom starts boring because slavery was entertaining. Read that again with your ego turned off. Freedom starts boring because slavery was entertaining, but boredom doesn't stay boredom. If you don't run, it becomes space. And space is where the real self starts crawling out from under the wreckage. But don't romanticize it. The real self isn't always pretty. Sometimes it's just the part of you that finally admits the truth. There's a brutal little miracle inside Zen. You are not your thoughts. You are not your urges. But you are responsible for what you keep feeding. And this is where Dogen's quote comes back.
To study the self is to forget the self.
Because when you study yourself deeply enough, you stop believing every impulse deserves a crown. You stop saying, this is just who I am. No, it's a weather pattern, a groove, a loop, a scared little survival strategy that worked once and then overstayed. You don't need to hate it. You need to stop hiring it. The habit says, I'm you. Zen says, cute disguise. The craving says, you need me. Awareness says, I can feel you and still not obey. That is power. Not the fake power of yelling affirmations into a mirror. Real power. So no, don't fight your bad habit. Fighting it keeps you chained to it. Don't worship it. Don't dramatize it. Don't build a whole personality around trying to quit. Watch it. Name it. Feel the discomfort underneath it. Then starve it with silence. Let the craving knock until its knuckles bleed. You don't have to answer the door. You're not weak because the urge appears. You're asleep if you obey it without looking. Tonight, when the old habit shows up wearing your voice, don't make a speech. Don't declare a new era. Don't post about discipline. Just pause, breathe, and say, not now.